Coming up next on the Holistic Wealth Podcast.
In 2025, with the Holistic Wealth Podcast, we did more than release episodes. We documented a global movement. It traced grief, resilience, generational wealth, and responsibility. Taken together, these episodes reveal something profound. People are not searching for more money. They are searching for meaning. They are searching for safety, resilience, and legacy. Holistic Wealth did not win attention in 2025 by being louder. It won by being truer.
You're listening to the Holistic Wealth Podcast with host Keisha Blair, author of Holistic Wealth and founder of the Institute on Holistic Wealth. And now, here's your host, Keisha Blair.
Welcome to the Holistic Wealth Podcast. And I'm your host, Keisha Blair. And today we have an exciting solo episode. It's the very last episode of the Holistic Wealth Podcast for 2025. I'm so glad you can be joining us today for that episode, the very last episode of the year. And before we get into that, the Holistic Wealth Podcast is sponsored by the Institute on Holistic Wealth, and you can check out the website for a range of courses and resources to help you live a holistically wealthy lifestyle. And as we head into 2026, the new year, this countdown episode is so critical. You'll see why. It really documents a shift, a global shift that we're experiencing. And that's why I love these countdown episodes, because we get a shift in what people are feeling, what people are thinking, and what's going on. And we know 2025 was such a hard year for so many people, me included, with the loss of my dad. It's been one of the toughest years that I've experienced personally. And so if you are in that moment too, where you feel like 2025 was such a tough year, this countdown episode is for you too, because I know you're feeling that way. So in 2025, with the Holistic Wealth Podcast, we did more than release episodes. We documented a global movement. It traced grief, it traced resilience, it traced generational wealth and responsibility, global awakening, and a profound shift in how we define wealth itself and how the world defines wealth itself. So this episode is not a countdown for pure entertainment's sake. It's an editorial record. It's an analysis of the 10 most vital episodes of 2025 based on visibility, engagement, conversion metrics across multiple platforms and continents across the world. We're tracing this movement from Germany to Switzerland to Austria to the Caribbean to Jamaica to Brazil, everywhere, the United States, Canada, Australia, Switzerland, Hungary, you name it, we're tracing it. And more importantly, it asks a deeper question. What does it say about our world that these were the stories people leaned into most? And I want you to think about that. This is the year that Holistic Wealth really channeled that. And so transparency matters. And of course, the analysis that we did to come up with these top 10 episodes based on Instagram shares, TikTok virality, event reach, engagement signals, and conversion intent. So this has been based on thorough analysis. And without much further ado, I'd like to just get into it. And I think many of you who are ardent listeners won't be surprised on number one. And I'm starting from the most popular episode, drum roll please, the most popular episode of the Holistic Wealth Podcast for 2025 is reaching 1 billion with Holistic Wealth. And that episode has just touched the hearts and minds of the world. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful because that episode was based on my dad's death. It was based on my caregiving journey. A single podcast clip shared on TikTok went viral and crossed more than 254,000 views because it told the truth of the journey for so many people. This episode braided together the death of my dad, the invisible labor of caregiving, the economic vulnerability of the sandwich generation, and a vision to reach 1 billion people with Holistic Wealth. What resonated was not blind ambition, it was legitimacy. People recognized themselves in the story, and in doing so, recognize that wealth must include care, time, resilience, and legacy. And I'm grateful. If you want to check out that clip that went viral, just visit my personal TikTok page, Keisha Blair on TikTok. You'll see the pinned episode there about the 1 billion. Feel free to leave a comment and share it. Let's make the conversation spread across the world. Number 2, Holistic Wealth is the new generational wealth. And this was so popular. It was released on January 1st in 2025. And this episode functioned as both a thesis and a prophecy. While traditional narratives still frame generational wealth as inheritance and accumulation alone, this episode reframed that narrative as including emotional literacy, resilience across life cycles, intergenerational healing, and sustainable well-being. It was an amazing episode, and its success lies in its endurance. This episode didn't just spike, it really settled into the brains and hearts of people. It became a reference point, a cornerstone, and a North Star for the year. And if number 1 captured hearts, number 2 restructured minds, and I'm grateful for that. Number 3, Holistic Wealth, the German edition. When Scorpio Verlag, which is my publisher in Germany and one of the most respected publishers across Europe, they shared this episode across all the platforms, linked to it on their website. Something quietly historic happened. Holistic Wealth crossed not just borders, but cultural paradigms. So as you know, in 2025, the German edition of Holistic Wealth was released on July 1st. And I kid you not, after my father's death, it provided me with so much more purpose in a time where I really needed it. So we doubled down on this episode. We doubled down to make sure that this German edition was well received in Europe. And it really was. It is available across nearly every single bookstore across Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and in bookstores online across the world. And, it's so amazing how emotional that was. And, it demonstrated, number 1, global relevance. Number 2, so much credibility for the Holistic Wealth movement and the universality of the Holistic Wealth framework. And so I'm grateful for everyone who purchased a copy of the German edition and left reviews. And if you haven't yet purchased the book and you're in Europe, in Germany, Berlin, Switzerland, wherever you are in Europe, do please get a copy of the book. Number 4, the Holistic Wealth movement surpasses 120 million. And this was another popular episode that came off the heels of the 1 billion mission episode. And it marked a turning point where the movement itself became the story. So people listened not out of just curiosity, but out of belonging. And so they wanted to know, what does it mean to be part of something this large and something this intentional? And so this episode transformed listeners into participants. And for everyone who has reached out to say, I want to become a Global Holistic Wealth Day ambassador, I want to be part of this movement, thank you wholeheartedly. And we're inviting everyone listening in to really join us. Number 5, Lauren Ridinger, Love, Loss, and Life After the Death of Her Husband. And this episode carried an unmistakable gravity. When Lauren shared her experience of losing her husband, and we shared the episode, and she shared the episode across all her platforms, it created a rare moment of collective stillness and grief online. And so it was existential. Listeners didn't come for inspiration. They came for permission to grieve, to rebuild, to redefine purpose after devastation. And thank you, Lauren, for sharing your story. And for many of you, if you don't know, she is a Holistic Wealth trailblazer appointed by the Institute on Holistic Wealth. Number 6, Global Holistic Wealth Day that took place in April 2025 in Canada, in Ottawa. Here we had the full event live at the Westin Hotel in downtown Ottawa. It was amazing. The mayor of Ottawa signed a global proclamation, as well as so many mayors in 2025, to proclaim Global Holistic Wealth Day across the world in their cities. The mayor sent his remarks that were amazing. And so we had a wonderful event. And so events leave echoes. And this Global Holistic Wealth Day event functioned as a convergence of voices, of disciplines, and lived experience. the episode and its many repurposed clips across TikTok. I mean, honestly, we've had hundreds of thousands of views across the various clips that I've shared across TikTok, across Instagram, on the Global Holistic Wealth Day Instagram page. All of those together combined had a huge reach. And I want to thank you, everyone who shared in the activities for Global Holistic Wealth Day, Global Holistic Wealth Week in 2025. Number 7, what is holistic resilience? And that was an amazing episode. And I was so happy to share that in 2025, off the heels of my dad's death again. And when we're thinking about what resilience means and what holistic resilience means in a year defined by exhaustion, in a year defined by grief, this episode arrived like a manual for survival. And if you haven't checked it out, please do. It reframed resilience, not just as endurance, but as renewal. And listeners responded because they were tired of being strong in silence. So the episode gave language to burnout and a pathway beyond it. And, it's amazing how so many of us are staying strong in silence and suffering in silence when we don't need to. And these top 10 episodes just give us permission to do the opposite and to redefine what we think wealth should mean in our whole lives, right? So number 8, how to cope with grief during the holidays. This was a latter episode that was just released a few weeks ago. And I came up with the idea to do that again, because I know so many people are suffering again in silence, even during the holidays, and with loneliness and coping with the loss of a loved one, coping with maybe a critical illness, the loss of a job, you name it, people are grieving. And so this holiday episode is so important. It chooses honesty, and its strength comes from its refusal to hush healing and this refusal to stay in silence when we grieve, even during the holidays. So listeners return to it often. So many people logged in, so many people shared it, not once, but repeatedly, making it one of the most saved episodes of the year. And thank you all for joining in not staying strong in silence, but to be shouting out loud that these things are things we need to create awareness about. Now, Jessica Morehouse was a guest in Ottawa. She flew down from Toronto, which was so amazing of her to be with us for Global Holistic Wealth Day. And we published her fireside chat as a podcast episode this year. And it really resonated with our audience because it was about money trauma. And Jessica flew down from Toronto to discuss money trauma in light of her book. And we're so grateful. Her new book was released in 2025. And in light of that, we decided to do a fireside chat on money trauma. And if you don't know about her book, it's called Everything But Money. And I attended the book launch in Ottawa, and I was the one who was her co-facilitator for that event. So you can check that out too. But Jessica's voice added intimacy to the broader topic of money trauma. And people really resonated with it, both at the event in Ottawa at the West End Hotel, where she got so many questions about money trauma. And if you have not checked out that episode, do check it out. And if you have an interest in, learning more about money trauma and how that evolves and how to heal money trauma, that's a great episode for you. Number 10, we're finally down to the last one. And it's one that I'm not surprised about because of this topic of narcissistic abuse and narcissistic economic abuse and financial trauma again are topics that you see a lot on social media nowadays, especially as people talk freely about their relationships and openness about talking about, yes, I had suffered through narcissistic abuse and this is how I got over it. And this was a solo episode that I did, and it's now number 10, and it's our final in our top 10 for 2025. And search-driven discovery, again, because it's such a popular topic, brought listeners who needed language for experiences they'd never named. And once they found it, they stayed and listened to it over and over. It didn't trend just loudly, but it stayed. And quietly, this episode did its work. And it's unbelievable that, as we close out 2025, those are our top 10. I'm very proud of this top 10. And every year we release a top 10. And if you check out the previous top 10s, they're just as remarkable, truly stellar episodes. So let's close with what 2025 has taught us. Taken together, these episodes reveal something profound. People are not searching for more money. They are searching for meaning. They are searching for safety, resilience, and legacy. Holistic Wealth did not win attention in 2025 by being louder. It won by being truer. And as we move toward a future that asks more of us emotionally, spiritually, socially, financially, these stories stand as proof that a different definition of wealth is not only possible, it is genuinely and remarkably underway. And this holistic wealth movement that has now reached 200 million strong has been the impetus for that. And I want to thank each and every single one of you from the depths of my heart. Thank you for joining me on this journey in 2025. It has been monumental. It has been so meaningful. Please continue to listen. We have some exciting episodes, some exciting announcements coming in January, the first one of 2026, the first episode. So please join us. Love you all. Wishing you a great holiday season, great Christmas season with your families. We will join you again for a New Year episode with some great announcements. Thank you. Love you all.
The Holistic Wealth Podcast with Keisha Blair is brought to you by... Have you joined the Institute on Holistic Wealth? If you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Choose your membership plan at the Institute on Holistic Wealth/memberships to join. As a member, you'll get access to free worksheets, advice, coaching, and an intentional design workshop. As you start to live a more holistically wealthy lifestyle, you'll want to stay for a very long time. So go to Institute on Holistic Wealth/memberships to join. If you haven't read the book yet, pick up a copy of the award-winning best-selling Holistic Wealth 36 Life Lessons to help you recover from disruption, find your life purpose, and achieve financial freedom.